Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. All right. So, what is wishy-washy? Let's first define the word wishy-washy. So, wishy-washy is lacking character or determination and ineffectual leadership. Right. Um, and the term goes that Pisces is wishy-washy. Let's begin with Pisces. Everyone under the solar sun sign horoscope is their first house, right? Pisces for one is a cadence sign in that first house position. I went over this a bit in part one, right? So that means this finisher sign is in the position of leadership. Now, Pisces is also the sign of deception, right? But I'm gonna go with the whole term Pisces is wishy-washy. I am. It's the same way that I went with it in part one, right? So I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt. However, you'll see, and I'm pretty sure other Pisces know that this is not true. However, if you want to be deceived by the Pisces symbol, as a lot of people are, go ahead, be my guest. We can also do this for entertainment purposes as well. But there is some gray area with this, so obviously there's gonna be some truth with this too. You understand what I'm saying? So let's start there. I think it's a perfect place to start, is saying, okay, you got this cadence sign, which is used to finishing things, right? The finisher, the packager, the distributor, and it's in a leadership position. And Pisces can behave like fish throughout life, meaning this leader is actually looking for bait, right? So from the outside looking in, if you see an individual that's looking for bait, looking for something to get hooked on in order to be substantial in a lot of cases, then you could be like, that's not the type of leader I want. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's not that to extend on that, it's not that Pisces people actually stick with it, like need a trend in order to hop on, in order to follow somebody. It's just Pisces are from the deep, all right? And they come up for the attractive bait because it's attractive. Venus rules over attractiveness, and Venus is exalted in Pisces. So the more you dress up that thing that can capture this fish on that hook, the more you're gonna get Pisces to gravitate to that thing. So that alone lacks leadership. I get it. That alone, from the visible eye, lacks leadership, right? Cool. So let's think about this. What some people overlook, right? I'm going to read off a list of things that Pisces rule over when it comes to being industrious. Okay? Now, this might shock you. Some of these things might shock you. Nonetheless, they're true. Pisces rules over energy. Energy ranging from electricity to gasoline, you name it. Energy, the chi, what you want to do, what you want to talk about. Pisces rules over that. Pisces rules over oceanography, the studying of the ocean, the mammals, classifying them, etc. Pisces rules over environmental work, meaning when you hear stuff about carbon emissions and carbon footprints and how much pollution is being exerted into the sky, Pisces rules over that. Medicine, Pisces shares that with Virgo. Great debate one day, probably Virgos. Pisces also rules over pharma with Virgo as well. That's pretty much why it would be a great debate if you ask me. Another video. Pisces rules over beverages. For those drinkers out there, not that I'm celebrating it, or you get what I'm saying. Pisces just rules over beverages, period. Pisces also rules over sales. So Pisces shares that with the sign Libra. Notice that the scales, the Libra scales, is in the shape of sails, and it gets mounted on a ship that flows over the ocean, oceanography, which Pisces rules, right? Libra is an air sign. The wind pushes the sails, bringing goods from one region to another region over water. Pisces rules over that. And Pisces rules over photography and film. I want to put emphasis on photography and film when discussing wishy-washy in piggybacking off of getting hooked on the bait, right? Being attracted to the bait, getting hooked on that. So what's need to be understood about Pisces ruling photography and film is photography is the recording of light. The recording of light. So now you got this deep sign that comes from the deep, dark waters, right? Comes all the way up, sees this shiny, beautiful, colorful thing, jumps on a hook, you pull it up, right? You're either going to consume it, you're going to eat it, or you're going to put it back in the ocean to go on its way, right? You're just doing it for sport, right? Should you consume the fish? Should you eat this fish? It's not a coincidence that Mercury is found in fish. Mercury is the planet of mental processing, learning, processing information, right? So back to being photographers, recording light. You come up from the murky waters and you record the light. What Pisces people are Pisces also rules over chemistry, alchemy, studying all of the elements, science, right? So here comes this person from the depths of the murky waters up into the light. And they're recording light for the purpose of being investigators. They're already investigating the ocean. They're already investigating everything related to chemistry. They're already investigating everything dealing with the environment. So now they come and they take photos, snapshots of this place called Earth. That's above, that's on land. And what Pisces are responsible for, right? Now you more than likely cannot detect this or do not detect this because you're looking for someone to either lead you, or you're looking for someone to be on TV, or you're looking for someone to have a suit and tie on at a press conference and telling you the numbers of their company and stuff like that. Someone who's appointed. You're looking for someone who's appointed. You may be overlooking a leadership quality that's not as streamlined or mainstream. So as this recorder of light, really what Pisces is God's snitch. If you want Pisces energy, Pisces people are God's snitches. What I mean by this is we stream information, right, from the light, and we report it back to the pineal gland. Now, I don't want to separate us by saying you are not capable of doing the same thing, despite what sign you are that's not a Pisces. For those of you who are tapped in, you have vivid dreams, you have prophetic dreams, you have symbolic dreams, you learn how to interpret, you know how to interpret them, you make sense of them, you process them, and you combine both realms, then you know what I'm talking about. Or you might have an inkling of what I'm talking about and you want to know more of what I'm talking about. So this is what I mean, right? Me and you, we could be in a relationship, for example. And based upon our interactions, right? Because I'm recording photosynthesis is light. I'm recording the light of the interaction between us. Next thing you know, a couple of weeks later, I have a dream about you. And in this dream, I'm being shown something. Something is being reported to me. So, like Pisces rules over confidential information as well. Classified information. So, like them Tom Cruise flicks, right? The Mission Impossible joints where he get debriefed somewhere in West Bubblefuck and it's just like some wild, outlandish place where he receives the message from the CIA. A lot of the times he doesn't even see the agents, you know what I mean? In order to get his briefing. So that's kind of like what it is with Pisces when they get debriefed in a dream. Now, call it God, call it the universe, call it your higher power, your angels, whatever it is to you, whatever it means to you, right? We get these reports. These reports come from a response of the interactions that we've had in the earth realm or even in different dimensions that gets highlighted to us when we have these dreams. So based upon these coded messages, we now interact with you on a different level. So let's say we was hanging tough before I had this vision, before I had this dream, and then something was shown to me about you. And that may not necessarily mean that I have to totally cut you off but it means that I have to play you a certain way now based upon the information that I received. I'm not obligated to tell you what that information is. I just do it because it's my intuition, and this is the way that I protect myself. And this is the way that Pisces protect themselves. So a lot of other signs, they got protective shells when it comes to the animal descriptions and things of that nature. All Pisces do is swim. That's it. So give us some type of slack when it comes to that. You understand? And I know for a lot of y'all, that especially for the ones that like really despise us, right? Y'all like, this dude is just talking about an excuse for not doing what they should do, for not having enough backbone, for not having enough ambition. And again, you would be none the wiser if you're just looking with your two eyes and you don't really know what this Pisces is into. Now, I've noticed that a lot of people love when Pisces are in trouble. It's really that they're entertained when Pisces are in trouble, because we can really become the life of the party when we're in mischief, when we're being mischievous. And it's just like everybody's like, look at them go, look at them go. And it's not necessarily because they love us. It's because of the entertainment purposes, you understand? And what we could bring to the table in the process. Like if you ever see Pisces in like drug-filled environments, Pisces rules over drugs. I told y'all pharma and all that. Pisces rules over that stuff. So you ever see Pisces in those types of environments and they're like interacting, they're active in those environments, you'll see how so many things bend to that Pisces will, and they got like so much clout in those environments. And it's because it's our natural habitat. We rule over that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a no-brainer. So a lot of other people who hook up with this Pisces can benefit from that, right? I've seen plenty of Pisces leaders in this environment. I was one myself. So strong leadership position, very strong, however, very damaging to me, right? Look around and everybody, and I'm not saying I ain't, get people in trouble and all that type of stuff too. Yeah, I was responsible for that stuff too, but to a degree, right? Because everybody's responsible for their own self. And I had to learn that. How do you learn that? Pisces goes to prison, right? We rule over prisons. Pisces goes to prisons. So when you get to going through this process as a person, we all come in here, we don't necessarily remember our memories fully until we start graduating and growing in life. Then you start having these deja vus and you start realizing that, this past life thing is for real. Evolutionary psychology suggests that we have DNA passed down from our predecessors, and some of those, we get triggers, we get activated based upon things that we went through before, subconsciously. Pisces is ruled by the subconscious mind, right? So here we are, God's investigator, right? We're reporting back what we see. That's why when you look in the United States of America, it's the land of prisons, right? And it's because of behavior. It's because of behavior. It's because all of this information is being streamed with these two eyes in the light. They're being recorded and it's being sent to God. The two eyes roll in the back of the head when we go to sleep, and we report. That's what's going on. We report to that third eye, and the third eye is reporting back when it sends you messages. I be feeling sometimes for people who say that they can't dream, they don't dream no more and stuff like that, like, because for me, in my experience, this is an essential component of life. That is a guide that assists people in their lives. You know what I mean? So this is not to even brag or toot my horn because of the ability. I'm just telling you how Neptune works. I'm telling you how the subconscious mind works. I'm telling you how Pisces energy by default works, right? So you think about the Piscean age and how Pisces age was an age of sleep, right? Pisces rule over sleep. So a lot of the time, sleep is like one of our superpowers. So when you expect someone to be more ambitious, determined, visibly, and their superpower is sleep, think about that for a minute and ask yourself, are you being too critical? Or are you putting everybody in one box, including Pisces. Like, because a Pisces is going to respect every sign for who they are with a sum of all signs. So we can expect Aries to be, right, behaving like a commander in chief. We can expect that from them because of what they are. But I'm telling you right now what we are. And if you still want to call us wishy-washy, then you're not respecting what we are and who we are. And this is when we get to bouncing on you and ghosting you and isolating, because the bait is not attractive enough. So just think about it. When you put on your best whatever, right? Your best part of your personality, and you know how it is when you first get in relationships with people, right? Put on your best. It's the best. It's just the best. It's like you know how to pour it on. And that's how Pisces get hooked. But when the interaction stops being reciprocal, when the interaction is no longer attractive, alluring as it was, and you just like all of a sudden run out of bait, this lets the Pisces know that this is not the real thing. This is a massage. This is a deception, right? The deception was the bait. You put on this great personality in order to get us. You understand? And that's deceptive. So although Pisces rules over deception, it does not mean that Pisces can't be deceived. And when Pisces gets deceived, they ghost you. Now, some of y'all out there are like, that's not what relationships is about. It's not what relationships is about. You're supposed to thug it out. You're supposed to stay with your partner. You're supposed to go through the thick and the thin and the rough times and all that. And you're hedging on a sign that is predominantly here to be harmonious. Venus is harmonious, balance, works well when it comes to sex. Sex is like a prize for Pisces because we can guarantee it's reciprocal. I'm fucking and you fucking. 8th house is Libra under the sun sign horoscope for Pisces. That's where we're great at. But that's another. I just had to make that point, right? But that's probably for another video. But once we get deceived, we over here now. We isolating. Let's get into isolation. Pisces rules over isolation, so you can self-renew, right? We know that if we spend too much time around other people, we can get impacted. We pick up on their Taurus field more than any other sign. We absorb your Taurus field more than any other sign next to Cancer. So we can be drained by you. We can feel and read your mind and know that you up to some ill-minded shit, or you on some behavior that's not going to benefit us. We know we only got a certain amount of time before we could hold our composure with you, right? Be cordial and, because we try not to judge you openly. We just need to get out. We need to get to where we need to get so we could recharge our batteries, right? We dip off. Y'all say we wishy-washy. We could take a few days off. We could take weeks off. Oh, ain't been around. Comes and goes. Not consistent. Yada, yada, yada. You need to know how we operate. We're different. Everybody's different. We're different, right? We don't care about the things that are lit up under the light as much as others do. We're not infatuated with the material world. We deal in both worlds, right? So that's something to take into consideration as well. You want to be attached and grab and hold on to all of these tangible things so tightly, and Pisces is just like breezing through, like floating through. You understand? And it's not that serious with us. I hate to upset you. You know what I'm saying? It's not that serious with us, especially when Pisces benefits from being a cold sign. Now, some of you Pisces may need to hear this because you don't get this part yet. You want to be, this is a biblical text too. I'm on a roll with the biblical text, right? You want to be lukewarm, universe going to spew you out, going to spit you out. You get hot, you turn up, you get hot, universe loves you, right? That's kind of like what I was saying. Pisces be in those drug environments. People love them. They gravitate to them. Oh, we're going to have a ball. We're going to go to the club. We're going to go to the after party. We're going to have orgies, and everybody fucking loves the excitement that's applied to that. But when it comes to being cold, how good are you at being around when it's cold, when Pisces gets cold? See, fish are cold-blooded by nature. You understand? Pisces rules over between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock a.m. right before Aries starts the fire. 6 a.m. when the sun comes up, right? So this is the coldest time of the night, between 4 and 6 o'clock a.m. on the clock, right? The clock is is comparable to the zodiac wheel. Pisces is that last slice, that last wedge, 4 to 6 a.m. And it's proven in studies, I'm not making this up, that the cooler it is in the nighttime, the easier it is to do what? Sleep. So again, this is our superpower, right? The more cold we are, the better we do. Why? And it's kind of sad, but when you're used to being dark and cold by default, and then you get it, it's not sad at all. It's a beautiful thing to be alone. Pisces will make their own company. They'll have their own tea parties, talking to themselves and everything. In the crib by themselves, all that. In the lab by themselves, doing their own thing. And there's no harm there. You may say, well, there's no challenge there. There's no, so what? Everybody wants to be hell-bent on these experiences, right? Until they're like, and I heard somebody say this recently, like people want to experience so much, and then sometimes they hurt themselves with these experiences. Sometimes just being is a beautiful thing. You might take a walk and not observe all of the beauty that's around you. You just focused on walking from point A to point B, and you missed the point, you know? I don't want to diverge too much. So we get to being cold, which is our natural habitat by default. And then if you see the bait is not working, now you're really like, oh, this person's not even busting a move. This person ain't with it, right? Which you may not understand, again, because you're looking with these two, how powerful the Pisces is. A shark, and it's cool, right? Like the authors of astrology, a lot of the times, you know, they depict these two like goldfishes, right? But a shark is a fish too. And I'm not talking about orcas. I know some of y'all Pisces is hype, like we killer whales and all. Orcas are mammals, you know, but if we want to be technical, orcas are not fish, but sharks are. So you could, for that, right? If you want to be a killer, if you want to be on some killer shit, right? But let's think about sharks for a minute. Sharks adapt to their habitat. Sharks are not afraid to go it alone. And when you're in the business world, the definition for a shark is the acquirer, the one who comes and does hostile takeovers and be like, oh, word, y'all only got this much. Well, we got this much money. We buying y'all. Y'all either come on board with us. We'll keep you on management. You keep 49% of the shares. And, you know, if the rest of them don't want to stay, or what, the workload too heavy, okay, get them severance packages. They out of here. That's that shark shit. You understand what I'm saying? And this is also something that I left off the list. Pisces rules over large institutions. So the largest corporations that you hear of is ruled by Pisces. Think about that for a moment. Again, I'm not making this stuff up. You want to go get you some astrology books? Be my guest. Come right back to the comment section and confirm. Pisces rules over large institutions. So how does one who's wishy-washy or lacks in leadership or lacks in determination, as the term suggests, how do they acquire and become the largest institutions in the world? How does that happen? Well, I'll tell you something, right? If you're a sign and you're an energy that consists of all parts, eventually you're going to understand that your empire can be built with other people's hands. If all of it exists in you, and then other people are like components of you, and you start seeing them like that. That's why Pisces has the rose-colored glasses, because we see you in us, especially the great parts, and we're just like, you just ain't found out yet. You're gonna find out though. We start speaking life, and you're like, why do you talk to me like that? Like nobody talks to me like that. I think I'm a shithead, and it's like you just don't get it yet. You know, it takes longer for other people or whatever the case may be. And you might think we're super nice to the point where we're too nice, and it's just like, no, we're God's snitches. You know. So whether you believe us or not, the environment will change and shift to eventually mold into what Pisces rose-colored glasses wants. And that's what the rose-colored glasses is. If we are here in the earth realm and we report to the spiritual realm, and a lot of the times it's based upon the things that we don't like, and we are magical to the point where we change environments, we shapeshift in order to, because we're chameleons, in order to bend and mold the environment to what it needs to be. And when I say it needs to be, I mean vibrating on Neptune level, unison, love above all. Love is the greatest power of all, ain't it? Venus exalted in Pisces is a form of Neptune. Neptune is a higher Venus. So, and don't get me wrong, I know some Pisces that love gory, bloody movies. I know some Pisces who are goth and all of that. You know what I mean? But my point is, the highest emphasis of this Piscean energy is going to be unison and harmony amongst all. So when these reports get back to the spirit world that that's not what's happening on this earth realm, you can expect things to change. And I'm not tooting my own horn again. How many times has Hollywood done it? Get in the comment section. Start naming off the movies that you've seen come into fruition. There's such a long list of them. And the Simpsons, forget about it, right? These are all creations of what? Photography, film, right? Just like, hold on. You get some bait, you come up, people say they this, they say they that, they're going to treat you like this, they're going to treat you that. It lasts a month, they start fading away. You're like, hold on, this ain't long standing. This isn't what they said it would be. And then you start seeing everything else going on, and you're like, nah, we get in the writer's room. You know how long it takes to write these scripts? You know how long it takes to film these films? It takes a lot of isolation, right? And this is why a lot of Pisces people don't fuck with people, because they need isolation to do what it is that they are here to do. They're mysterious. We're mysterious. So you won't even know who we are unless you read the names on the credits, but you still don't know who we are if we're not taking photos of ourselves, right? So it's like we are here to do something that it might not favor you. You might benefit from instilling fear in others. You might benefit from being a bully. You might benefit from taking things over without using law. Let's think about Capricorn real quick, right? The operation of government, the operation of law, rules and regulations. Excuse me. Capricorn is a sea goat. If you look at older depictions of the sign Capricorn, you'll see it's a sea goat. That's why it's shaped like that, because it's like a curly tail that comes from the ocean. It's aquatic. So the sea goat comes from the sea, from the bottom of the sea, and comes up the mountain all the way to the top of the mountain. So that number one spot that everyone's looking for, Capricorn is up there so it can look down on the land and be like, okay, now we need some rules and regulations. And I know you may be like, well, what does that got to do with love? How can we reach love? And again, it's because behavior that is not harmonious is not Piscean-like. It's not the highest vibration of Neptune. It's not the highest vibration of love. So this is where rules and regulations, because I'm pretty immoral myself. You understand what I'm saying? But there are scenarios that present themselves in life where I can identify and just be like, that's not cool. That's not cool. Someone's equilibrium was just violated and they should have known not to do that. I've been there, myself included, to where I had to be removed from society and caged somewhere to isolate. Find out who I really am, Everyone could use some of that, But again, some of y'all might benefit off of being the biggest and the baddest in the land, and that has an expiration date. Trust me. And when these things are visualized, when they are seen, these rules and regulations get laid out so that people get the chance to self-renew as well. Like people be like, yo, I don't wish jail on my worst enemy. I do. Just so they have the opportunity to self-renew, because I know if the law doesn't stop them, a lot of people are preserved by prison. Their lives are saved by prison. Sure, it's terrible conditions, and it's prison. It's prison, my nigga. Like, what you expect? You were free. You had the opportunity to do all types of other stuff under the sun in order to get, I don't know, plush velvet bean bags and tall ceilings and, Victorian landscaping and stuff like that, but you chose otherwise. So you land in this caged condition to self-renew. I'd hope that for any and everybody before they'd have to face death. You understand? Or living in a condition that is terrible, like drug addicted to the point where you're pretty much lifeless, right? Or on the street or something like that. So this is why Pisces gets wishy-washy, and they don't. It's something that you showed them that lets them know, okay, you don't get it yet, and you're not vibrating on this level yet, to where we can interact continuously or firmly. So we're giving you your space to do whatever it is you need to do to be a better you. And I still said what I said from part 1, right? What makes us believe that you're the one? How do we know we're not expending all of our energy trying to keep this thing together between us? And there was so much more that I could have done and been to this universe, been to this world, been to people other than you. You might get entitled by being around a Pisces and think that you're deserving of being around this type of energy because of something you did in life. But it's like, focus on the Pisces. You know what I'm saying? Focus on the interaction. And if that don't match up, if the math ain't mathing, Pisces is going to get wishy-washy on you. Pisces is going to get low, And a lot of this comes from, let me tell you the pain of having a 7th house in Virgo. I spoke about this a little bit in part 1 too. It's like, the sign that wants us to be in contractual agreements, this is along the lines of business and when you shacking up with someone, right? Or linking up with somebody like that. It's under an analytical, discriminating, perfect eye. It wants you to be perfect. You understand? So imagine the pressure that comes with that. So in part 1, I kind of said, y'all may think that Pisces don't know what we want, but that's not true. That was an error. It is true. Pisces don't know what we want. We know what we don't want, though. Figure that out. So that's my correction. We know what we don't want, and it comes from Virgo being in the 7th house. And if y'all seen my last video that I did about me marrying Taurus instead of Virgo now, I've learned now dealing with Virgos. I get it firsthand. Like, and we struggle to identify whether it's the actual Virgo that wants us to be perfect for them, or if it's just Virgo energy in general representing our 7th house that is being pushed on us by the default sign, saying this is how you need to be in order to be in a relationship, right? And then we might say, well, you know what, romance is not for us then, or 7th house isn't even romance. We might say, well, a wife isn't for us, a husband isn't for us then, because I can do better getting in business contracts, solely business, because marriage is a business contract, but solely business contracts to where I can have various streams of income, and my money actually harmonizes better with me than people do, because people have a tendency to try to give the shit end of the stick to a person who is so giving, especially emotionally, so giving that they take that for granted. They think that that's a weakness, right? So I'd rather deal with my money, because the money is just like, oh, well, at least I could expend the energy on something that brings me gratification, whether it's a trip, whether it's a cake that I bake, food, whether it's, So being under the pressure of being scrutinized so much, or at least being critiqued, it's like, okay, when we get to the 8th house and we have sex, we're like, this is the epitome of what balance and harmony means, because like I said before, at least both of us fucking, we can attest to that. That's 50-50, ain't it, goddamn it? I'm not even going to drag this no longer because this seems to be something that can be expanded on for so long, you know, because Pisces rules over so many things, and the 12th house is, you know, discovery, you know. So again, for us being in the sun sign horoscope, we're being leaders, we're out to discover things, right? It's all a big mystery for us. We're on the journey of mysterious things. Who wants to follow someone that is going into the unknown? The average person, or should I say the materialistic person, is going to look at that person as weak or wishy-washy because it's not definite. You're not going to be confident enough of being with that person because you're like, he don't know what he's doing. She don't know where she's going, right? And then when we get there, you're like, oh shit. Especially when we get there without you. You're like, oh shit. You hear about it, right? You might try to contact us later. Alright, I ain't even gonna turn this into one of those. Y'all understand what I'm saying. I'm out.